Hello and welcome back. Candice here. Last week, we learned about animal soul groups and how they can actually change species when they come back over that rainbow bridge. I thought it was interesting that the messenger stated that this was occurring with more frequency. Now, my theory on that is because it's part of evolutionary's process. The messengers have referenced this so many times. It seems like things are speeding up. The veils are lifting, time and life is changing. So maybe it's true with our animals too. They're evolving more quickly as well. I have a question for you. Have you ever had an animal that behaved in such a way that you thought they didn't know they were an animal? I remember I had a horse that used to follow me around like a dog. When I would ride her and she would get tired, she would sometimes sit down. If you've ever been around horses, you'll know that's crazy. Horses don't sit down, but this one did. Have you ever had or known about dogs that seem more cat-like or cats that seem to be more like dogs? Perhaps you find yourself needing to remind yourself that your dog isn't a person. Now, I'm talking about going beyond the typical where we assign human characteristics to animals. That's a natural tendency, but this is more than that. What does this mean when we're confronted with animals like this? Are they more, quote, advanced? Are they getting ready to make that leap to another species? Are they the ones, as the messenger stated in last week's episode, that are on the outer fringes of another species in hopes to be assimilated into a new oversoul or a soul group of a different species? All of this brings up questions about the relationships between people and animals. What purpose does that serve beyond the obvious lessons to learn about caring and commitment and companionship? So let's see what the messengers have to say. All life comes from the one, from the Creator. When humans accept an animal into their lives, they are often enriched. Many humans have acknowledged this relationship and have implemented therapeutic interventions using animals. When a human lovingly holds an animal, bonding takes place. Both the animal and the human benefit from these relationships. It demonstrates the importance of coherence. As energy beings share higher vibrational frequencies, entrainment occurs. As blending occurs between the animal and the human, the frequencies literally bond. They become one. This is true for any bonding, not just between animals and humans. As humans come close to one another, opportunities arise for frequencies to blend. The more the frequencies blend, the closer the bond. The relationship between humans and pets, from this perspective, fascinated me. On one hand, it was simple. If I just viewed this in terms of energy, it seemed so logical. But when emotions become involved, it seems to muddy the waters. The clarity then dissipates. The messengers, of course, had something to say about that as well, too. They say, we say that is not true. Emotional responses are also vibratory frequencies. When they are in alignment, the bonding occurs rapidly. If the sets of emotional responses become incongruent, it is difficult for the bonding to occur. Now, this makes perfect sense to me. I can remember growing up when we got a new dog, and my older sister, Marcia, came to visit. We hadn't seen her in a while. She was living in another city. She was married. And when she drove in the driveway, this new dog that we had, who had never met my sister, ran to the door, jumped up, started wagging his tail, and he could not wait for her to come in. And when she did, he jumped up on her. He loved her so much. It was like he had missed her for so long, but he had never even met her before. So I certainly can understand this congruence when we talk about energy. And that's exactly what I was seeing with this dog. This last message brought up so many questions. For some people, it's easy to see when there is a match with their pet, just like the example I gave with my sister. But sometimes there's not a match, and you know that as well too. People sometimes will describe them as being a cat person, for example. Now, tell me if you've ever had this happen. If someone doesn't like cats, it's interesting to watch, like if they come into your home, that cat will come up to the person who is not a cat person and immediately jump up on them or wind in between their legs, and it makes the person feel so uncomfortable. When I see this happen, I can't help but laugh, because I'm not getting the impression that the cat is attempting to connect with the person, to break that emotional barrier that's there. Instead, it's like the cat knows that person does not want them around, so they assert their independence and do what they want. The cat, not the person. Dogs, on the other hand, often just want attention from wherever they can get it. But not all dogs. Like any animal, including people, some wish to be left alone. Some are aggressive. Some just don't seem to be happy. This must be the incongruent frequencies that the messengers referenced. I wanted to take a broader look at the picture and know more about animals and their people friends. Why do people have pets? Why do we domesticate them instead of allowing them to live free? The message came. It is not the human who domesticates animals. It is part of the natural progression and evolution of the soul. The first thing I questioned was an evolution of whose soul? People? Or are they referring to the animals? The answer, animals upon the earth plane, like humans, are also on an evolutionary path. Their guidance is leading them to higher vibrational states, just like ours. Some animals might be ready to accept roles within other species. And that's exactly what we were talking about last week, where an animal might jump to another species. As domesticated animals spend more time with their humans, they do so for several reasons. The bonding that occurs allows the animal a glimpse into the world of the human species. They assimilate the energy of the humans, and this introduction of new frequencies assists them in their own evolutionary paths. This reminds me of the pictures that you can see on the internet where you have a person and their pet. And it seems that the longer they have been together, the more the person starts looking like the dog, for example. If you haven't seen any of those pictures, it's worth a look. You see this more readily with animals who have been trained as service animals or therapy animals. When they assist humans, the human is able to offload errant energy to the animal. This results in the humans becoming more responsive. Now, this brings back a memory for me. From years ago, my father would take his sweet little dog, this teeny tiny little white poodle. He would take him to a nearby assisted living facility. And I was lucky enough to accompany him on a few occasions. I was almost overwhelmed with emotion to see people's faces light up when we would enter the room. Later, I learned that many of these people would go sometimes days without speaking to anyone. Yet when this sweet little pup sat on their laps, they would start talking to him, telling him, oh, he's so pretty or how sweet he is. They would just pet him. You could tell it was the highlight of their day. And what a difference this made to them. Now I understand about the blending of energy between them. As they stroke this precious little puppy, they were offloading some of their energy as well as uploading some of the sweet, positive energy from the dog. This is a good place to stop for the week. If you have a pet, be so thankful. Be kind. My mantra for the year. Be kind applies to our pets as well as to other people. It's also important to be very kind to yourself. Stay tuned as we either delve deeper into communication with animals or wherever else the messengers decide to take us. In the description below, you'll see the links to my other two YouTube channels. I would love to have you join me there as well too. Please subscribe, like, comment below, but no matter what you do, remember, be kind. And until next time, I hope everyone has a beautiful week. Bye.